All right. It's 3 minutes after the hour, and we're going to go ahead and get started here today. Thank you all for joining us. I know it's late in the afternoon for a bunch of you. I'm coming here from Chicago, Illinois, and it's 6 o'clock in the morning for me. So I'm just getting my day started here. So good afternoon to everybody. Welcome to Maximize Your Data Value with Microsoft Fabric. We at Confiz are very excited that you have joined us for today's event. My name is John Esmail, and I'll be your host today. We have an excellent set of speakers for today's event, Tom Robertson and Mohammed Balal. Combination of history between the two of them is about 35 years of working experience in the area of data architecture. So they have a wealth of knowledge that they're going to bring to us today in today's event. Slide. All right, let me just take a moment, if you guys don't mind, for a brief information about us, Confiz. So this is your commercial at the beginning of the show. So Confiz, we are a global technology services company that have been leading customers from small, medium-sized customers all the way up to enterprise customers with their IT, computing, custom app development, and data analytics and data science needs. Our company has deep roots in the area of retail, but we also have customers in the areas of telecom, brands and products, financial services, and even in the grocery market as well. And you can see from some of our global customers like Labara, Mars, Procter and Gamble, even a company, a small retail company called Walmart, is one of the customers that we do service. Our organization is a multi-cloud organization where we work with Google, AWS, and Microsoft Azure. And we do also incorporate a wide variety of tools in the different platforms, depending on what's appropriate. Our biggest partners are with Microsoft, Google with BigQuery, Databricks is really the platform of choice when it comes to large Spark clusters, as well as doing data science and as well as data engineering work. And today's event, though, is going to focus a lot on Microsoft Fabric. So go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right. So how do we look at data nowadays? Data is the new oil. Microsoft Fabric is how we're going to drill for that oil. So what all organizations are looking to do is monetize their data, whether that is to do better pricing so they can maximize margins, do better sales forecasting, so they can have the right inventory levels. Data is what's going to get us there. And the real value in a lot of organizations, the data that they have and how they're going to monetize it in the future. Next slide. So let's define a modern data platform. Excuse me one second. Modern data platform is a highly integrated set of technology resources, services, tools, processes designed to manage, analyze, and derive valuable insights from all types of data in a scalable, efficient, and extensible manner. Also at the core of a modern data platform is the ability to do AI. So having the data, having it in a set in a raw format or a lightly curated format, and be able to do predictive analytics with the data as well. So you can handle your operational business analytics, what is currently happening, what has happened in the past, as well as a modern data platform. So you can create your experiments to figure out what's going to happen in the future. And what we can do is do this in a multi-cloud approach. Again, today's seminar is going to focus a lot on Microsoft Fabric because it is one of the leading platforms out there for doing a modern data platform. Next slide. So what is the impact of a modern data platform on businesses? So data-driven strategies spur innovation, leading to new products, services, business models, all while identifying new market opportunities. Modern strategies incorporate cloud-based solutions for scalability and flexibility, allowing for adaptation to changing data needs. Being able to have that competitive advantage, knowing what the market might bear for either your products or services, having the data to harness that. Also, a proper modern data platform will have risk and compliance capabilities. And what you want to do is be able to make sure you adhere to regulatory requirements such as GDPR if it's appropriate, or PHI or PII. So you can meet whatever the regulatory requirements are in your area. And also by having a tightly coupled secure MDP, you can help mitigate any type of breaches or data risks within your environment. It is important that organizations do create adoption with their data. So creating that data-driven culture within your environment is important. Sometimes organizations get stuck in the ways of looking at old green bar reports, and now with a modern data platform, things could be dashboards. People can have their filters so they can see what data that's appropriate for the question that they're asking. And even with Microsoft Fabric, with the incorporation of Copilot, end users can speak in regular language and get the answers out of their data that's within their environment. And it's just going to make sure that it helps you strive and innovate and grow. And the whole thing is to make better use of your resources, your people, and your time. And a modern data platform will bring that to you. Next slide. All right, with that, I'm going to turn over the event to Tom and Bilal, and they will start to dive deep into the modern data platform and Microsoft Azure. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad you're here. Happy to see you. So let's start talking about data-driven decision making and the AI maturity journey, and maybe where your organization or business might be at on this curve, and how Microsoft Fabric and Analytics as a solution platform can help you. So you may be anywhere on this curve, actually, within your organization, but typically we're finding many companies are in the lower or in the left-hand quadrant of this curve, where they have standard reports or advanced reports even, and somewhat cleansed data. And largely this data is looking at what happened in the past. So operationally, this is important. We need to understand what happened in the past so we can kind of, start to think about what will happen in the future. And that's what this is about. How can we help start predicting what might happen in the future? So as we move up this curve and we gain maturity, we start using predictive analytics to what will determine what will happen in the future based on what occurred in the past. And then once we start to get that muscle memory built and that capability, we can start to do prescriptive analytics, which is really cool. So we can start to figure out how should we respond to what we think will happen in the future based on likelihood. And once we reach this level of maturity, now we can start to automate decisions. We can start to get automatic responses based on what we're predicting will happen and what we think we should do in response. So how do we build this architecture? What's the underlying architecture and technology foundation and capability that supports this? So let's take a look at these components just at a high level, at a reference level. So all modern data platforms have some key characteristics and capabilities, regardless of the cloud provider that they're built on or the service, whether it's Microsoft Fabric, Databricks, or a custom bespoke solution in Azure or AWS. So let's think about data ingestion. We have to be able to ingest batch data, streaming data, unstructured, structured, semi-structured, all types of data, images, etc. We need a place to store this data within inexpensive, resilient, highly available data storage. So cloud storage, you think of S3 or Azure Data Lake, for example. We need a place to integrate the data, bring it together, and curate it, clean it up, qualify it, make sure that it's accurate, so that we can start transforming it into meaningful facts and dimension tables for use in data analytics, business intelligence tools, and really for machine learning as well, so that we have quality data that we feed into our models. Underlying all this, we have a foundation of cloud native products and services that all the major cloud providers have their own services to provide. The platform needs to support collaboration and integrated workflows across the platform. It needs to have a unified data governance and security approach so that we don't have different tools managing different components within the environment. And most importantly, well, I don't know most importantly, but very important, we need a metadata management and data cataloging capability so that we can understand where our data came from, how it was curated, transformed, where measurements came from, how calculations were done, and what the meaning of our data is. So in today's current state, many organizations and businesses find that their analytic solutions are complex and they're very fragmented. They have analytics platforms that have services and tools from different vendors across the platform. There's likely, like I said, multiple vendors involved in the solution, which requires vendor expertise for each piece of the platform, each technology component. And they're hard to integrate and scale. It's complex, they're fragile, and they're very expensive. And you're locked into proprietary formats for these solutions. So let's start thinking about what is the solution for this. So if we think of a SaaS solution, a software as a service focused on analytics, Microsoft Fabric follows these similar requirements and predictable patterns that we see in analytics solutions. So if you think about all the products that Microsoft has, and kind of depicted on the left side of the screen here, Data Factory, Data Lake, Synapse Analytics, Purview, et cetera, how do we integrate all these services and create a true software as a service solution? So Microsoft has done this with their product called Fabric. And what they've done is they've created these workforce personas for data integration, engineering, warehousing, et cetera, that provide similar look and feel for the user to perform their roles at work. And it's all built on a shared data lake, which is one lake. So it's all truly shared data and storage across the platform. And it has a truly shared unified solution for governance and administration across the platform as well. And you think about the expertise Microsoft brings to this integration. These are their products. Most people are familiar with them. They've been around for quite some time, many of them Power BI, for example. So no one knows better than Microsoft how to integrate their own products. So it's really exciting to see that we have this software as a solution from Microsoft now. And as it matures, it just becomes more and more robust. So now I'm going to turn it over to Bilal, my partner, so that he can explain Microsoft Fabric architecture. Take it away, Bilal.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, John. Thank you for being up early today. Hi, folks. My name is Bilal, and I will be discussing Fabric architecture. Before we dive deep, let me share my experience in architecture planning. I have seen teams spending most of their time in setting up infrastructure, preparing platform, and installing application instead of focusing on the data. I found them always worried about platform scalability and availability of the systems and less focus on the business. Many companies have data warehouse solutions in place, irrespective of the maturity status they have. And now they are looking to expand and take advantage of generative AI and LLM platform capability. But the platform capability is a bottleneck in their goals. So if your teams are also in the similar mess and want to focus on the real tasks, then Fabric is a right choice. By the way, John, you can stop me anytime if you find me going off topic. The problem is if you have 18 years of experience, then you have a lot to share and talk. Yeah. All right, so Microsoft Fabric is a software as a service, which means no infrastructure setup required and nothing to worry about the platform application layer. Just enable it in your tenant and then rock and roll. Fabric is a lakehouse-centric open architecture for all the workloads. Yeah, let me refresh our knowledge around the lakehouse, which combines scalability and the flexibility offered by the data lake and data integrity and consistency offered by data warehouse. So it combines good features of both platforms. It also unified data streaming and batch processing. These are the key advantages of being lakehouse centric. Moving forward, Fabric is a solution for all analytics workloads, all the personas. Tom and my other colleagues will compliment me that it's been a decade we have been unifying various data sources into a solution which serve as a single source of truth. I believe same is the philosophy adopted by Microsoft, that they have unified all the services into a single application. At top, we get different personas. Tom will discuss more in detail later, but at high level, these are actually different interfaces for a customized experience to each user in the company. Each user can take advantage of a Copilot AI assistance in writing SQL queries, Spark jobs, and designing pipelines. So don't worry if you are not an expert, still you can jump in and take advantage of a Copilot and start running your own data analytics review. Below is, you can see the workspaces. Team working together need to share data, both sometimes scripts, models, data science models, and different artifacts. So workspace is a place to collaborate. It also gives a unified way to grant access to all artifacts within a workspace. So this is the concept of a shared workspace. Underline is a universal compute powered by the Spark cluster and one lake storage powered by ADLS Gen 2. We'll be exploring more details in the next slides. Let us zoom into the data lake. You can think one lake as a OneDrive for the data, as this is a software as a service, so we don't need to worry about any infra setup or a platform. As soon as Fabric is enabled on tenant, that is automatically provisioned for whole organization, or I mean, subject to the tenant setting. If it is enabled for the whole organization, yes, then it is available to the whole organization. If it is enabled for a group of the users, then it will be enabled for that selected users in the group. Next, you need to just bring in your data and start building on top of it. Later, we will also discuss how easy it is to bring the data in. But the key take is OneLake is our single source of data, automatically indexed and scaled. Microsoft is taking care of overhead so that the teams can focus on actual tasks, which is, I mean, getting the business insights. So nothing to worry about the infrastructure, platform, or the scalability issues or performance related issues, because everything residing in this one lake will be automatically indexed by. Yeah. So we have discussed one lake. Here we are adding another layer of a serverless compute. To cater different analytical needs, Fabric offers specialized compute services, all powered by the Spark cluster. We have SQL engine to query relational data. We have Spark to process unstructured data and to meet real-time analytics. Uh, Fabric offers CustoDB, and we can use SQL-like Custo query language for real-time analytics. Finally, for analytical queries around semantic model, we have analysis service, same as SSAS from Microsoft Stack. Takeaway point is we don't need to spin up or set up any of these compute services. These are automatically provisioned with Fabric. This is what we call serverless. You just need to write query and trigger execute. Fabric will take care of rest. However, we can set up different capacities as per the need of the workload. Consider capacities as your compute power. This also helps us maintain budget of each workspace. We can assign one capacity to each workspace. But the key is all the compute services are using single storage layer. Instead of making multiple copies around different personas, each bit of data stored in this lake is accessible to all engines without any import or export activity subject to the rinse and grants. And this also enables a unified security layer around the whole application. So these are different. Below this, you can see these are actually different data stores residing in different clouds. And Fabric allow us to link these stores into one lake with the help of shortcut. This is the capability of shortcuts offered by Microsoft Fabric, which gives us an instant link to the data. Where does it resides? So it makes one lake as a multi-cloud data lake, as we can create shortcuts and bring data from other cloud providers too. The key takeaway is the possibility of creating shortcuts to different cloud providers. Here I will pass the ball back to the Tom to walk you through different personas in the Fabric.
Thank you, Bilal. Great job. So let's talk about the workload personas for a minute here that take advantage of this wonderful architecture that Bilal just gave an overview on, all this shared architecture, shared data that we have. So now let's have a shared experience, right? So these are persona-driven experiences for workloads. And you'll see here we have Power BI, Data Factory, Synapse Data Engineering, some very familiar names. You're going to be able to work with this data through these different interfaces, and these interfaces are slightly different, but there is a unified experience across all of them. They all have a similar look and feel. They all have capabilities that cross each other. They're built basically focused on the workload. So if we're in Power BI, we're going to see an experience that's very similar to the Power BI experience we have today. It's the look and feel is going to be familiar to anyone that's familiar with using Power BI or works in that space now. Same thing with Data Factory. When we look at the Data Factory interface, you're going to see the way that we build a pipeline, all the different triggers that we can use are all similar. Synapse Engineering, you're going to see the Spark notebooks, etc. So it's really cool that within each one of these tools, we don't have this different interface that we have to learn for each workload. They're very, very similar, and they do overlap somewhat. So it's very easy to move around and work within Microsoft Fabric, regardless of what your role is or what workload that you're working with at the time. You can cross these very easily. So let's take a look at the data integration and engineering capabilities. So this is largely within Synapse Analytics and Azure Data Factory kind of interface that I just showed. So we can extract and ingest data using data flows, which is going to be very familiar to people that use Power BI. This is a visual drag and drop. You drag the action onto the canvas, link the actions, and create your data flows visually. It's a low-code experience, and it's very easy to use. It's very intuitive, and it's great for people who aren't ready to start programming in Spark, Python, PySpark, etc., or don't want the complexity to build workflows with data pipelines in Azure Data Factory. So speaking of Data Factory, we can still build these workflows and data pipelines using that interface for complex data pipelines and workflows in the same look and feel. And we can also work with our data in Power Query, which if you're used to using Power Query within your Power BI interface or perhaps Excel, this is going to be a very familiar drag and drop canvas, link your actions to build your query, and then see your results without having to write the SQL yourself. We can also build code-based pipelines or notebooks, Spark notebooks and jobs using PySpark and Scala, whichever language we choose, PySQL, etc. For more complex pipelines and data engineering tasks, curation, integration, etc. So let's take a quick look at the interface for Azure Data Factory. And what we'll see is very similar kind of look and feel. Right now, what we're looking at is data sources. So out of the box, ADF, Azure Data Factory, comes with hundreds of data connectors for the various popular data sources. So you don't have to build your own connectors. You simply choose the connector, fill in a few configuration details, such as the name of the database, the user, or the key that you're using to connect to it, and you're on your way. You can connect to that data. You can start to build pipelines to copy data into your raw layer or bronze layer in a medallion architecture if you choose to implement that way. You can convert your data to Delta tables to create a lakehouse architecture, as Bilal was talking about. So we get transactional capabilities, we get the historical capabilities, and we get the consistency, right? And we also get that metadata layer that describes and tracks what's happening within the table, the columns that are involved, and what the structure of the schema is. So this is really cool. Then we can also build, we can continue building on these pipelines and make them as complex as we would like. This is a fairly simple pipeline example that we have over here on the side that's showing data coming into a Delta table, updating a dashboard, doing some compute on churn prediction for a machine learning model, and some alerting up here. Now let's take a look at the data flows Gen 2 interface, and you'll see that, again, very similar look and feel on the boundaries of the interface. We have the ability to select all these different data connectors. Again, literally hundreds of data connectors that are pre-built. Select the data connector, your data sources, and then just begin to drag and drop your activities right onto the canvas and connect them as you like. And you can see here that you can get a preview of your data across the bottom. And as Bilal mentioned, this is all integrated with Copilot. So you can actually describe in Copilot how you would like to build your queries, and Microsoft Fabric will help you or actually build those queries itself. And then you can validate whether or not it's done what you like, and you can augment it or add to it. It's really, really cool. And then finally, within the integration space and engineering space, I want to talk about Spark notebooks. So Fabric has the capability for Synapse engineering. They call it data engineering in Fabric, to build Spark notebooks that can be shared across your workspace. So developers can collaborate on these Spark notebooks. They can work in Python, scale up, and PySQL, et cetera, to build out complex data flows and pipeline integrations. And they can also integrate data, cleanse it, judge the quality, load Python libraries to manipulate that data in complex ways, and then transform that data and put it into a lakehouse architecture. And that's what you're kind of seeing here is some fairly simple Python commands in the background, but then the ability to like preview the data within your structure. And you can see here the Delta tables along the left-hand side of the thing. All right, so at this stage, I'm going to kick it back over to Bilal to talk about the data warehousing experience in Microsoft Fabric. So Bilal, take it away.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom, for covering how a data engineer can take advantage of Fabric capability. Our question answer section is open. You can post your questions, and later me and Tom would be answering your questions. So most of the time, yeah, we are dealing with the structured data, and data warehouses are the best to store, organize, and process structured data sets. Fabric offers two types of data warehouses. One is this traditional data warehouse with fully functional transactional SQL capabilities, where we are in full control of creating and managing tables. We can insert, update, or delete the data as required. We can also create stored procedures or views for the complex transformations. Second is the SQL endpoints on the lakehouse. Whenever a lakehouse is created in Fabric, SQL endpoints are automatically generated. Through these endpoints, we can run SQL queries and perform analytics. But this is a read-only view of the data. That's the key difference between these two. Earlier, we have a full control, and we can perform all the DML operations, whereas the endpoints of Lakehouse, we can run SQL queries, but yes, we cannot manipulate data here. Here we are flashing a screenshot of a data warehouse in Fabric. Model view, this is a view of a model, is selected here. And in this view, we can see a dimensional model and the relationship among facts and dimensions. Popped out is another window giving us a tabular view of data. I believe DIM customer is selected in this screenshot. So, and on top, these are different buttons on the toolbar to create new reports, new queries, and the new measures. Yeah, so this is, a tree-like menu here to browse through data warehouses and tables and different schemas. So we have discussed how to ingest and process data into the batches, because normally data warehouses deals with the batches, but we need to ingest and process system logs, sensors data, and data produced by other IoT devices. Every growing organization need to process such kind of a data to get insights. Such needs bring two monsters altogether: volume and velocity. Scalability and the performance become biggest challenge when we are dealing with the volume and velocity together. But we don't need to worry about, um, as Fabric take care of these issues for us and let us focus on data and the business. And this is all about actually the real-time data analytics. So key takeaway is the Fabric is a fully managed system taking care of underlying architecture and application layer, and letting us focus more on data and the business. Real-time data analytics in Fabric is powered by Azure Data Explorer. You can see on left side is an Explorer, tree-like Explorer, and the Custo database. We can store, query, and gain insights into vast amount of data without worrying about platform-related issues. As shown in this picture, Custo query language is a SQL-like query engine. We can write SQL-like statements, and we can get insights of the data, and we can play around the data. So we can run custom queries, and there on top we find some built-in integration with the Power BI. Click this button and all your data is readily available in Power BI for all kinds of visualizations and dashboarding. You don't need to write any ETL or write any pipeline. You don't need to move your data. You don't need to copy your data from one database to Power BI workspace. It is always there. You just need to click this button, and this is the magic provided by the Fabric here. And underline the data and how Fabric is ensuring performance here is by partitioning. But it is automatically partitioning data, both, I mean, by time and the hash partitioning. Both kind of partitioning is available, and it is all done by default. And this is how it guarantees performance during data ingestion and running all the analytical queries. So data science workload persona empowers data scientists to build sophisticated ML models and AI solutions with speed and at scale from a lakehouse. Fabric provides unbounded collaboration when training, deploying, and managing machine learning models. And most importantly, we don't need to bring data from data engineering platforms to data science landscape. Data scientists can consume data where it is. Uh, Fabric data science experience is powered by Synapse ML. Synapse ML is an open source PySpark library for machine learning. It enables machine learning at scale with distributed training of models and support for ML flow. It also includes support for Azure OpenAI to enable access to the LLM that are fine-tuned and ready to use with ease. Synapse ML also includes integration with ready-to-use machine learning services like Azure Cognitive Services for vision, speech, language processing, and translation. So this is all about data science persona offered by Microsoft Fabric. This is a Power BI. Power BI is a leading visualization tool designed to address the needs of both Power BI, BI developers, and data analysts. With a co-pilot in Power BI, Microsoft is infusing the power of large language models into Power BI to help unlock more value from your data. Using Copilot, you can simply describe the visuals and insights you are looking for, and Copilot would do the rest. You just need to, you can ask Copilot in any question in a natural language, and Copilot can analyze your data, can draw the visuals, can draw DAX formulas for you, and your job is taken care by Copilot here. I will roll back to the Tom to take us through the case studies solved by the Confizz.
Thank you, Bilal. Appreciate it. That was a great overview. All right, so let's give a couple examples and look at what you can do for businesses, what we've done for businesses here at Confizz.
Tom, can you hear me? There's a question from one of our attendees.
Okay, do you want to do questions right now, or do you want to do them at the end? I'm fine with answering questions now if you like.
Sure, I think we can do that at the end.
Okay. Sorry, gang. Just real quick, I'll run through these. There's just two use cases we're going to talk about. So we'll talk about did some work for the world's largest chocolate company. You know, guess what that is. And we implemented a new data ingestion solution across a wide variety of data sources, and we put it into a lake-centric lakehouse architecture platform. We led the transition from a manually intensive reporting operation that was based on Excel reports to an advanced analytics solution with dashboards driven by Power BI. And we developed an executive dashboard for business performance, sales, and accountability that provides intuitive insights and drives data-driven decisions and makes it easier to pick out the detail and what's actually occurring in your business and what actions you may be able to take to influence what's going to happen in the future. And then we equipped reconcilers, managers, and retail operators with modern, effective tools for tracking and monitoring and investigating loss prevention, which is a big issue, obviously, in retail. The next use case that we'll just quickly go over is a Fortune 100 global retailer, a very large organization. And we created a scalable platform to monitor self-service checkouts within their retail stores with an emphasis on ensuring compliance and standards. We built a processing layer employing Kafka for streaming data using Spark Streaming. And we built a data warehouse utilizing very large volumes of data across the organization based on Spark processing. And we created some advanced analytics dashboards to help this organization understand what was occurring as far as loss prevention and compliance at self-checkout. And we also created a new mobile application that uses this data using React Native code so that associates can view this data on their mobile devices as well, so leaders can take action and understand what the situation is on the floor at any time. All right, so these are our use cases. And I can take some time now. In a minute, John, well, I'm going to turn it over to John, actually, to talk about the assessment, and then we'll answer questions here. Thanks, John. Take it away.
Okay. Yeah, real quick, I'll give an offer. We have an offer out to all the attendees today. Is Confizz will invest time on our side to help create a customized roadmap for any one of you to transition from where you're at today into a modern data platform. We'll get an understanding of where you're at from a technical perspective, and then where you want to go to meet your business goals, what's your strategy, and we'll help lay out a roadmap for you. We're going to have an offer for this assessment, and we will. It is a more than just a meeting. We plan on investing time on our side, expecting you guys to participate in 2 or 3, at least minimum 1-hour sessions, and then provide some documentation to help us do a proper roadmap for you guys. So let's move on to the questions. So I'll go ahead. Tom, can you see them, or do you want me to read them out?
I can see them in the chat. Thanks, John.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So let's open up questions now. And while we're answering questions, any other attendees, feel free to use the QR codes here to fill out the request to do the complimentary assessment. And also we have some free ebooks for you to download as part of this event. So go ahead, Tom.
Sure. And it looks like this is great. Some of our audience is actually answering their own questions too. So I'll just start at the bottom. Someone has asked, Mustafa has asked, can we use C+ in notebooks? No, we can't, Mustafa. You listed these are the appropriate or the correct answers that were pasted in the text here. So we can use PySpark, Python, we can use Scala, we can use Spark SQL, and Spark R in Fabric notebooks. So those are the languages that are available to us. I had a question here about Copilot, whether or not it's available in the trial version. And Bilal, I see Bilal, he's responded in the text, but for everyone, you cannot use Copilot in the trial version. You must purchase a Fabric capacity, and the minimum capacity that you can have to use Copilot is a F64 capacity. What I would encourage people to do is, as they consider these capacities, always remember that you can stop and start your Fabric capacity just like you can stop and start Azure services. So just because you need to purchase a capacity doesn't mean that you have to use it constantly or it has to add up to a significant expense. So all these things are billed by the hour and actually incremented. I believe it's by minutes. So take a look at the capacities that are available and the pricing by hour and consider that when you're looking at where you need to be to start experimenting with Copilot. And I see Bilal has something to add there. Jump in, Bilal, based on your
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, thank you. And you can assign, you can spin up different capacities because not every workspace need F64. There would be workspaces which require lesser capacities. Consider, capacities as your compute power. So if there is a workload which needs a lesser capacity, lesser spark power, then you can spin up maybe F4, F8, F16 anywhere. So, and you can assign different capacities to different workspaces. And this is how we can also manage and budget each workspace actually. So over to Tom.
Thank you, Bilal. I appreciate that. I was just reading through one of the questions. Mustafa had a question about he's been using Fabric in the data engineering activities, and he's noticed that the features in Data Factory and Synapse pipelines are not as robust as they are in the individual tools in Azure. Mustafa, this is true. Microsoft continues to mature their offering within Fabric. There are some things that you cannot do in Data Factory within Fabric that you can do within the Azure environment, and Microsoft is constantly working to close that gap. I don't have a date for when they're going to have event-based triggers. You can do data mappings in Fabric, but you can only do them in data flows. You can't do them in Data Factory. So some of these capabilities are there, but you need to use the data flow tool to do the data mapping. And right now, triggers are limited to scheduled events. And Microsoft will be expanding that to other events shortly. What I can do is I can look at our partner site and get the latest updates on when these features will be coming out or if they're estimated, and I can make sure that we get those to you.
Yeah, I put in the in the chat there a link to the Fabric roadmap that gives you
Excellent.
features, detail of what each of those features are and when the release plan is. So that's something you guys could all bookmark and use that as a calendar of these new features as they come out.
Beautiful. Thank you, John. Thank you. I think that's all the questions that we had. And then I would also encourage people, you're welcome to reach out to John or I directly, or Bilal. I'm happy to talk to you, try to answer more of your questions and work through what you're doing with Fabric. Just would love to hear from you. So let me know if you have more questions or would like, to work directly together, just a call. And maybe we can even look at screens together and see what it is you're working on.
So there's another question here on F2
Yeah.
capacity. Like, what does that really mean? Can you relate it to cores and RAM? So if you want to take that question, I know we've been playing with these smaller capacities, so.
Yeah,
there is
no,
go ahead, John.
no direct, there is no direct answer to this, but yes, we have, I mean, we can run simple notebooks and with not much of the transformations. So this is something you can spin up F2, and if it meets your requirements, then fine. Otherwise, you can always scale up. This is the beauty of the cloud, actually. So, but this is not a simple, straightforward answer of, no way to compare it or map it to the cores or memory. Tom, if you would like to add something here.
No, that's right, Bilal. It's not directly correlated to the number of cores or a certain power CPU or memory level. I mean, there are rough approximations, but really going through the different capacities and trying your jobs and understanding how the performance is impacted by the different capacities is the way to go. An F2 capacity is one of the smaller capacities. So you would expect it to be limited to smaller workloads. The cluster that's spun up in the background for Fabric would be smaller under an F2, obviously, than an F64, et cetera, and they go higher and higher. It's similar somewhat to the capacities that you buy with Power BI. So you think of a Pro and a premium license, a P1, et cetera, and up and up. And we had another, can we perform cross-tenant writes from one tenant to another, like pushing data from a notebook? Sitting in one tenant to a lakehouse, sitting in another. Yes, we can. We can do that by linking storage either through shortcuts or through connecting to another source through a Spark notebook. I probably would need to know a little bit more about what's going on under this question. If you're thinking about connecting Fabric tenants from one region to another, that's actually possible as well. But Bilal, did you have anything to add on this? I saw you.
Yeah, this is very much possible. You need endpoints of your lakehouse to establish a connection. In Data Factory, you can create connection to the lakehouse and in other tenants. And once the connection is established, then you can obviously sync your data. If you're working from a Spark notebook, yes, again, you can establish a connection using Spark connector, and then you can write your data frames into lakehouse in any other tenant. I hope you answer your question.
Yeah, I think that was good, Bilal. Yeah, we can definitely do that from within Fabric. And again, if you're working on something like that and you're maybe hitting a roadblock, just give us a call. Happy to help you work through it. These are good questions. All right, John, I'm not seeing new questions come in.
No new questions.
Yeah.
I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer. So, like, if I was a lawyer, this would be bad. But
a sales lawyer, okay.
Yeah, a salesman and a lawyer.
It's everybody's worst nightmare. What a way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, John.
Does Power BI come with all sizes of fabric, or does it only come when you reach like that F 64 or whatever that size is?
Now, Power BI comes with Fabric even at the base level, even with the free trial version. It's one of the main workload personas. So Power BI is available for all the different capacity levels.
Okay, great. All right. And that as you guys are looking at pricing and comparing Fabric to Synapse, and please keep in mind that you do get that Power BI tenant in there as well. So if you're doing any kind of cost analysis, do look at that and consider that that aspect of it. So again, we'd be happy to sit with you, answer any more questions one-on-one if anyone's interested. If you're at a place where whether you're already have something running up in the cloud or nothing at all, and you're looking to do the digital transformation into using cloud services, we're happy to help. Our data maturity assessment would be a great place to start. Again, we'll put some skin in the game from our side and make sure that we're helping you from a consultative approach through your process. Feel free to contact us, download our ebooks, and if there's no other questions today, we'll go ahead and wrap these up. And thank you everybody for attending. We look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Thank you,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
Good afternoon. Good
Thank
evening.
you, everyone. Yeah,
Bye.
bye-bye.